Hey guys, so what a week. So my district manager sent me this picture. She says, "Why does the bread look like that?" And I'm looking at it, and obviously you can see what's wrong right away, right? I mean, obviously I work at the place, so obviously I know what's wrong with it right away. Look how flat it is. And I called her up and I said, if that was the bread that I made or that was being made when I left, uh, I have no control over that. I have no control over that. I put in some bread at around 2 o'clock. It takes about an hour or so to proof, to rise, expand. It takes about an hour. So by 2:15, I was gone. I was gone. So I told her, I was like, well, I had bread in there I had bread in the proofer when I left. But it was only in there for maybe about 15 minutes, and the person who was there helping me, they opened the door for the proofer, so they knew it was in there. So if they didn't take it out on time, or sometimes maybe you get busy and you can't. There are plenty of times that even when we have the timer set, that timer goes off and you still have no choice but to keep working because you've got 4 or 5 people lined up and they're all like, "Oh yes, I would like 3 foot long subs and 2 6-inch." So you don't have time to stop and you have to get people out of there. And so I don't know if they just forgot or if they just didn't have time. But yesterday I was in there, and whoever from the night before, this is what all of the bread looked like. Like, this is just the ones, like, you can see, like, I'd made about 25, 30. When I say 25, 30, 5, 10. So that's how we counted. So you have the pan, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I say 30, so 5, 10, 15, 20, and then you can see like pans behind it. But I made about 30 or so before I left. But all the other bread that I had made in the same day yesterday, it was perfectly fine. It was perfect. It was nice and nice top on the on the top of the bread, firm. When you cut through, instead of having to push it down and hack through the damn thing, I just like butter. It just slid right through. I opened up the bread, so soft and fluffy on the inside. It was perfect. Um, so clearly I know what I'm doing here. But then I went in yesterday, and whoever was there the night before made bread that looked like this, but like all of it was like that. The wheat bread was practically falling apart. I couldn't really use any of it. The white bread was like that. In fact, we had a catering order with 16 subs, and most of the bread we couldn't even use because it looked like that, but it was crusty. It was hard, crusty. Yeah, you cut through it and you tried to open it, and the middle would just kind of like break at this. It would just rip at the seam. And I told her, I was like, well, you also need to look at the proofer. The proofer, it's not supposed to get hot, like oven hot. But I opened it yesterday, steam coming out, my glass is fogged up, and it was hot, like oven hot. It's not supposed to be hot. Like, it's just a proofer. It's just you put in there, there's a little humidity, and it gets it to rise. It's not supposed to be hot. But I mean, she outright said that she knows that there is something wrong with the proofer. She's been trying to get someone to come in to replace it. Because if our equipment isn't working properly, we may know what we're doing, but if the equipment isn't working properly, we can't do our jobs properly. Um, but apparently, she said that the stores, like today and tomorrow, might have to be like basically closed because they don't have any bread or anything because the truck didn't show up, even though the truck was supposed to show up. We switched over to a new company because the other one was dipping out on us. And when my manager was there Tuesday, she said something about the trucks not showing up Fridays now, but rather just randomly throughout the week. But apparently I thought we did. I went in, there was meat in there for me to cut, slice. There was veggies. I was like, okay, clearly we got the truck. But apparently we're out of everything already again. So she's saying 2 stores are completely out of things because we didn't get the truck, but yet it's like, what what happened to everything that was just in the walk-in? I mean, I was just there yesterday. Where is everything then? If you're saying we don't have anything, where did it all go? You know? Um, she said something about, um, a box of bread being wasted. When I opened the box, um, it was only like, what did I pick? What did I do? Like what, 20 something pieces, which is not even half a box. But she said something about a box and a half. So when I was there, when I opened up for that one that I did the before I left, I opened a new box. I had to. Um, and like I did maybe 30 pieces, put it back. But apparently, someone went through a box and a half or some shit. I know the person I was working with said, "Oh, I'll probably put in some later." So it's like, I'm not there enough for any of this to be put on me solely. The most I could be blamed with is not, saying, hey, just make sure you keep an eye on it. But again, the guy, he opened the door for me so I could put the thing because I'm got in both hands. So it's like he knew it was in there. But again, if you're busy, you don't really have the time like, oh, just hang on while I take all this and sprinkle the cheese on it. No, you have to worry about the customers. Um, she said that the oven was set on something different, which I know he set to different. He's like, oh, well, I've told him it needs to be set to 375, and because things aren't cooking properly. But I told her about the humidity problem, how I opened the thing and it was just scorching hot, how it was like oven hot when it's just a proofer. It's not supposed to be oven hot. Um, but it's just one thing after another. I mean, the toaster oven's working again, thankfully, but that's only going to be for about a week. Every time we get that toaster oven fixed, it just breaks within a week. Um, but just like, look at this. Look at this. And actually, those don't look like the ones that I would make. Because when I do it, there's like clear like a lot of cheese around the sides. Because I don't just because it's Italian herb and cheese. And for me, I like to put plenty of cheese on top. But when I do, it like falls on the side in between. So when it bakes, it like, connects all of them through this bridge of cheese. But as you can see, the only thing here was just where, we had to tear them. So this is definitely not cheese bread that I did. Because we had so little yesterday when I left. Yeah, it was definitely what I put in, and then when I left, and then someone made more. This is definitely not my work. Because again, when I put mine in yesterday, they came out. It was so good. Again, it was, normally it's like this. You have to hold it down and hack through the damn thing. But mine, it had the perfect form. It was nice and firm and solid on the top. The knife just glided right through it, and then when you opened it up, it was so soft and fluffy on the inside. I'm like, oh my god, this is perfect. This is perfect. I was like, mwah. But this is definitely not my work. This definitely not my work. Like I said, I can tell mine because I put a bunch of cheese on it and it ends up in the creases between the bread, like in the pan. Because we have like the little black dividers or these trays that are divided up, but the cheese always ends up in between, so that when it bakes, the cheese kind of melts together. But then when I pull it out to put it on the tray, I just kind of pull it out in one big thing, and all 5 pieces are still connected through the cheese that's connecting to them. So yeah, it's pretty sad. I can tell my work from others. Yeah, this is not my work. No, this is definitely not mine. Yeah, I think these were probably the ones that I left in yesterday before I left. Um, because I didn't put the cheese on it because I had put it in the proofer at first. So it takes an hour, and then when you take it out of the proofer after it's risen, then you put the cheese on and you put it in the oven. Definitely not mine. Yeah, you can tell there's no cheese around the corner on the sides or anything like that. It's definitely not my work. So, but yeah, when we say like, oh yeah, I made 30. You have 5, 10, 15, 20. So it's like 5 in each pan. So, but yeah, I mean, it's still usable. It's still unlike yesterday when I was there, and none of the bread was usable because it was so hard, and the inside wasn't soft at all. And when you cut through it, you would open it up and it would split. This, unlike that was unusable. This is still usable. It's still soft. It's just flat on the top, which it shouldn't be, but it's still usable. But and it looks like these have already been opened. Sometimes if like, oh, it's a 6 inch, I just want a 6 inch. We'll just kind of put it back and it'll already be pre-opened. But yeah, this is not my work. Was it 5, 10, 15, 20, and assuming 25, 30. So this must have been the one that or they made it afterwards. But actually I think I had 2 subs today that I made with that bread. Not that bread. But with my bread, the bread that I made. And again, when I made it, it was just sliced right through. I watch a chick on YouTube, apart from Milad, who works at Subway. There's also another one I watch, and I see her cutting her bread, and I'm like, I wish ours was always like that. She just whoop, while we have to hold it down and hack through the damn thing. Even when it's the shape it's supposed to be, we have to hack through it just because of how the middle is. But mine, it just glided right through. I opened it up. It was light and fluffy and airy, and it just made a better sandwich, honestly. I mean, it was sitting in the refrigerator last night, and I just had it like an hour or so ago. But it made all the difference. Having bread of that quality just made the sandwich taste so much better. I mean, even though because of the moisture, from the being wrapped up and like the mayo, I put mayo on it. I put the garlic aioli. Apart from it losing some structural integrity because of the moisture causing it to a little bit, it was still quality bread, better than what I normally have. Normally when I'm using pieces like this and I didn't make. But yeah, she said that she was asking about that and saying that we have no bread right now because the truck hasn't shown up, and it's like I thought we were supposed to get the truck sometime this week. Like, why? And what do you mean we don't have anything? I was there yesterday and we had like 3-4 boxes of bread before I left. So who the fuck is using that much bread? And that was another thing. And apparently then it wasn't me because when I left, I had just opened a new box and there was still about 3 other boxes sitting there. And again, I only used 25. I think there's probably 100 plus in them, I think. I mean, they're like this, like that long when you get them. About that's actually probably about that long, about that size and that thickness. So there's probably about 100 or more in there. I don't think I've actually read how many is in there, but I only used about 25, and there were still like 3 boxes left. So how the hell did we go through a box and a half for all those boxes to where we have no bread left, to the point of where we can't open the stores because there's no bread? That doesn't sound like a me problem. That sounds like a whoever was there last night problem. And maybe whoever did it this morning. I don't know who was there this morning, but this is why people quit. This is why we're having such a hard time keeping people, because of all the bull crap between trucks not showing up when they're supposed to, people not wanting to do their job properly, which again, it's not fully on that person because the proofer isn't working well either. The oven yesterday, well, then again, someone set it to something that it wasn't supposed to be at. I put cookies in, right? And even after 7 minutes, they were still. I mean, Gordon Ramsay would have had a fit. He would be like, "They're fucking raw." Like all they did was just, instead of being a glob, they just kind of a little bit, but they were still basically just cookie dough. And even after almost 10 minutes, they still looked the same. And then it turns out that someone turned it down from about 750, 350, 375 to about like 320. It's like, well, no wonder why they weren't cooking properly. It's supposed to be like 350, 375. You put them in for like 7 minutes. If they still look a little not gooey, but still like with the raspberry ones, look the raspberry still looks a little runny or something, you leave it in for another minute. But these, even after 10 minutes, they were still soft. And I'm looking at it, it's like, why is it like this? And then I look at the temperature, I'm like, well, who the fuck turned it down? Turned down for what? But it's I'm going in and having to work off the clock. I know, illegal, can't do that, but they kind of expect me. They're like, oh, well, you can't clock in until 5 minutes before your shift, so why are you clocking in at 8:30? And I'm like, because I have excess shit to do. If I could just come in and do my own job with opening the store, opening the register, slicing the meats, doing the cookies, doing the bread, I would be fine. But no, I'm coming in having to close the register out. I'm having to make bread from scratch, or not from scratch, but because they're not putting any in the retarder at night. Coming into dishes, tons of dishes just sitting out there still waiting to be put away. The floor's dirty, the slicer's dirty, veggies haven't been prepped. And then I've got to do all that crap because someone didn't do it, in addition to my stuff. Like yesterday, I started working at about 7:30 something, and I was busy from that time all the way till 10 o'clock when I opened. But everything I did, it was off the clock. Because I at this point, if they won't let me clock in until 9:30, but all this shit has to be done, I have no choice but to basically work off the clock. Because if I didn't, none of it would get done. And it's like a damned if you clock in, it's like, oh well, if you clock in enough at early enough, they'll chance of getting fired from that. If I work off the clock, get in trouble. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. But with all that crap, I need to at least get the meat cutting done, because if I don't, I'm not gonna have time. Because once 10 o'clock rolls around and we start getting those DoorDash orders that are all like 3, 4, 5 sandwiches each, and I start getting that foot traffic, you don't even have time to scratch your fucking balls. I don't have time to go to the bathroom if I need to. No, I'm busy until my help comes in at like 12:30. And then even then, I don't have much time because we're still busy because it's still rush hour. So it's just ridiculous what because they want to just let me clock in an hour early to get this shit done. It's like, okay, either let me clock in early or tell the person who's there the night before to do their fucking job. Like, not that hard. Either let me clock in or tell the person to do their fucking job. I should not have to come in and do all of the duties of the person who was there the night before in addition to my own. I'm not getting paid double for it. I'm not getting... No. Let me do my job. And I know someone, when I went to Dollar General earlier, she was like, well, then, if you don't have to do it. I'm like, yeah, well, then I'll get fucking fired if I don't. It's like, she's like, well, then that could be a lawsuit and everything, because you can't work off the clock. They can't force you to do that. But it's just one thing after another. Every job I have is just one thing after another. For once, I'd like to just have a normal fucking job. I don't care what kind of job it is. I don't mind these kinds of jobs. But the fact is, no matter whether it be SeaWorld, or working in a nursing home, or Subway, or when I was at Ingles, or Burger King, or the factory, every single fucking job, I can never just go in and do my job. No, there's some other bull crap that I have to deal with. And yet, no matter what, I'm not asking for a pay raise. Unlike those people like Starbucks who are like, oh, we demand. No. Is the job hard? Sure. But it's my job is a job anyone can walk in and do. You don't need specific training or anything. You can walk in and just, you're making subs. You're making subs. Literally anyone can walk in and do my job. So no matter how tough it gets, no matter how annoying, I'm never going to sit there and say, oh, we need to be paid more than whatever we're making. No. No. But it is getting tiresome having to, like, oh, well, no, you can't clock in until 5 minutes before you. And then if I just outright refuse, like, say, next week, it's like, well, why wasn't this stuff done? Well, because you're not letting me clock in early. I can get my own things done in 30 minutes, like the bread and the meat slicing and all that, but you're expecting me to do all of that, the stuff that should have been done last night? Can't do it. So it's either let me clock in early or tell the fucking person to do their goddamn job. Simple as that. But anyway, again, I would love to have a job where I could just do my job. To just do my job. But apparently that's not going to happen for me. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.